3 fosters gave up on her. 14 months in a shelter. A Scottish fold with one rule that nobody could work around: do not reach for me. Every person who tried came away with scratches and a story. Then Sara stopped in the hallway of a rescue she wasn't even planning to enter, and she did something nobody had thought to try. She didn't reach for her at all. Sara Lennon was 31 years old, worked as a graphic designer from home, and had lived alone in her apartment for 3 years with what she described as a perfectly organized, perfectly quiet life. No clutter, no chaos. A standing desk, 2 monitors, a very good coffee maker, and a personal policy against anything that would disturb her focus. She had considered getting a cat before. She had decided against it every single time. Too unpredictable, too needy, too much potential for disorder in a life she had worked very hard to keep orderly. She stopped by Clover Street Cat Rescue on a Tuesday afternoon in February on her way back from a client meeting that had ended early. She told herself she was just cutting through the block. She told herself she wasn't even going to go inside. She went inside. The rescue was narrow and warm, with kennels stacked along both walls and the particular smell of a place that takes in more animals than it has space for. Sara walked slowly, looking without committing, the way people do in furniture stores when they have no intention of buying anything. She almost walked past Kennel 7. The cat inside was small, gray, and white, with folded ears that made her look permanently surprised, and eyes the color of a winter sky. She was sitting perfectly upright in the center of her kennel, not against the back wall, not hiding, just sitting there, looking at Sara with an expression of complete and total assessment, like she was the one conducting the interview. The rescue volunteer, a young woman named Bex, came over and lowered her voice slightly. That one is complicated. Her name is Miso, Scottish fold, about 3 years old. She has been here for 14 months. 3 fosters tried. All 3 said the same thing: she will not let anyone pick her up. She hisses if you reach for her without permission. She sits exactly like that and watches you, and the moment you try to touch her before she is ready, she is done with you entirely. Sara looked at Miso. Miso looked at Sara. Sara did not reach into the kennel. She did not make sounds or hold out her hand or try to coax her forward. She just leaned against the wall beside the kennel, crossed her arms, and looked back. Miso's tail flicked once. Then she looked away. Then she looked back. Sara adopted her 40 minutes later. The first week was, by any objective measure, a negotiation. Miso established the terms immediately and without discussion. She would eat on her schedule, she would sleep where she chose, she would sit in whatever room she decided to occupy, and she would look at Sara with those enormous blue eyes, and she would not be moved by enthusiasm, baby talk, or the expensive interactive feather toy that Sara ordered on the first night, and which Miso regarded with open contempt. Sara tried the feather toy twice. Miso watched it move with the expression of someone being shown a magic trick they have already figured out. Sara did not try to hold her. She did not try to pick her up. She went about her workday at her standing desk and let Miso conduct her assessment of the apartment at whatever pace she chose. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, that genuinely surprises me. Hit subscribe. Miso is just getting started. On the 5th day, Miso jumped onto the desk. Not onto Sara's lap, not asking for affection. She jumped onto the desk, walked directly across both monitors, sat down on the keyboard, and stared at the screen. Sara carefully moved her to the side. Miso walked back across the keyboard. Sara moved her again. Miso sat down on the mouse. This continued for 11 minutes before Sara gave up, moved to the couch, and accepted that the desk now had a co-owner. Miso jumped down, followed her to the couch, sat down at the opposite end, and went to sleep. Not touching Sara, just in the same room, on her own terms. Sara sent a photo to her sister that evening with the caption, "I think I'm being managed." By the end of week 2, Miso had developed a system. Every morning at 7:15, she would sit outside Sara's bedroom door and make a single sound. Not loud, not insistent, one precise note that meant breakfast, delivered as a statement of fact rather than a request. If Sara did not appear within 4 minutes, a second note would follow. Identical in tone, no escalation, just a reminder that the schedule existed and was not optional. Sara started setting her alarm for 7:10. The moment that changed everything happened on a Thursday night in week 3. Sara had received difficult news from a client that afternoon, a project canceled, several months of work effectively gone. She had closed her laptop, sat on the kitchen floor with her back against the cabinets, and stayed there. Not crying exactly, just somewhere between frustrated and defeated and not particularly interested in moving. Miso walked into the kitchen. She looked at Sara on the floor. She sat down approximately 18 inches away and looked at her for a long moment. Then, with the deliberateness of a cat who had made a considered decision, she crossed those 18 inches, stepped onto Sara's lap, turned around once, and sat down. She had not allowed Sara to touch her in 3 weeks. She had not initiated contact once, and now she sat on Sara's lap on a kitchen floor and began to purr. Sara did not move. She barely breathed. She sat there at 6:47 on a Thursday evening, and after a long while, she put one hand very carefully on Miso's back, and Miso did not leave. She still hasn't. Today, Miso is 4 years old and has lived with Sara for 11 months. She still does not allow strangers to pick her up. She still conducts every morning on her own schedule and considers the 7:15 breakfast arrangement non-negotiable. She still occupies the desk during working hours and regards the concept of a closed door as a personal inconvenience. She has claimed the left side of Sara's bed and treats the right side as a generous concession. But every evening without fail, she finds Sara, whatever room, whatever hour. She walks in, assesses the situation, and settles somewhere in the same space. Not always touching, not always close, but always there. The rescue had called her unadoptable, too difficult, too particular, too much cat for most people. It turns out she wasn't too much. She was just waiting for someone who wouldn't reach for her before she was ready. Some cats choose you loudly. Miso chose Sara quietly, on her own schedule, entirely on her own terms. And once she decided, she never looked back. Is a cat that makes you earn it worth the wait? Tell me in the comments.